Welcome to a video from thedigital-lifestyle.com. This video we'll have a look at this budget notebook from Acer. This is the Acer Aspire Cloudbook, about 177 quid. So it's definitely a budget. It's a 14-inch version of it, and I think really Acer are aiming at sort of the low-cost Chromebooks, but unlike Chromebooks which just run Google Chrome, this runs full Windows 10, so you can install Chrome on it if you like, and you've got all the Windows 10 features. So budget price, and I'll explain what that sort of means in a moment. Let's look at the physicals of it first. It's got a nice sort of grey plastic dimpled effect. It's business-like, I would say. It feels nice and solid, it doesn't feel cheap. In terms of ports, well, you've got HDMI, USB 3, headphone, full-size SD card there, good for putting your camera cards in and things. Power, and we've got another USB, that's a USB 2 port on the back. So it feels nice, sort of well made, solid, 1.6 kilograms. So for this kind of device it's probably about average. So what can I tell you about this device? Well, like I said, it's budget, but the keyboard actually is quite nice on it. There's not too much travel in there. You could definitely do some, you know, you could definitely work on this, it's no problem. The keyboard is actually probably one of the best features of it. I actually quite like it, and there's no number pad or anything like that, but as a keyboard I think it's pretty good. Same goes with the trackpad. The trackpad supports two-finger scrolling and gestures and things like that. It's quite big, it's got like a smooth finish to it, so it's nice and easy to scroll about on. I'd say, you know, reasonable trackpad to go with the keyboard really. So really that's probably one of the good things on this. It's got a good keyboard and a reasonable trackpad. The click gives you a nice solid feel to it. I think click, if you do two fingers, does right click, and a single finger is a left click. So that's pretty good. The screen, you see, it's nice and bright. I think the colours are a bit washed out. The greens aren't as green and the reds aren't as red as you expect, and so on. But so it is a little on the dull side. There's no touchscreen or anything like that. So I found the screen colours a bit dull, and the resolution is 1366 by 768. So you're talking quite low res. You know, no 4K here or 2K or anything. That's, you know, the basics as you're going to get on the screen type of Windows 10. But again, that's the budget device that we're talking about, and you know, that's what you're going to get. It's not reflective either, which is quite good as well. You can see really it catch the light a little bit, but it's not as reflective as some of the others. I've been reviewing some high-end ones which have got real glossy screens, and I don't think they're as good really. So, they look good, but the glossiness when you get outside and things can cause a bit of a problem. So I actually think that, you know, it's not a bad screen. It's just yeah, it's just low res really. The processor inside it is an Intel Celeron N3050 processor. It's got 2 gig of RAM and a 32 gig eMMC drive. What that means is it's sluggish. You can see I click on start, there's a slight delay. I click on a tab, there's a slight delay. Sometimes there isn't, sometimes there is. Here's the CPU usage, and you can see it pretty much runs high up all the time when you've got Edge open, no matter what web page you're running. So that's makes it feel a bit sluggish. Same memory, it's using a lot of memory, or it's not got a lot of memory, so it's using what it's got, which Windows tends to do anyway. Windows 10 tends to do it to optimise performance, but I think that does make it feel a bit sluggish. So if I close this and open the store, you can see sort of the load times. You've got to do that waiting. The 32 gig eMMC drive means that it's not constantly thrashing the disk, that you can hear it spinning because there's no spinning disk. So that does help a little bit. The faster onboard storage means that Windows doesn't page quite as much. See, that didn't open then, it did crash. Oh, when it is paging, it doesn't feel that sluggish. Oh, that's good. I think a reboot is needed there. So, you know, I find the performance just about acceptable really. It really does depend on what you want to use it for. If you're using it for Facebook and maybe some email and a bit of web browsing, then it'll be fine. You can put Chrome on there, Firefox, whatever you want on there, and it'll be fine. See, it gets there eventually. what you won't be doing is probably any high-end video editing or audio editing or anything like that. It would be way too sluggish for that. It would be quite frustrating. But 177 quid, what do you expect? You know, it is a bargain device or a budget device, and the App Store, the App Store programs and games do work okay. It's just, like I said, it's just a little bit on the sluggish side. Of course, the other option with only having 32 gig onboard storage means that you get in this situation where the C drive here has got 8.92 gig free. I haven't installed anything on here. This is just as it was sent to me. So that's not giving you a lot of space for putting stuff on. Luckily, what you can do, you can use the SD card, put your media on there. It's called a Cloudbook because you get 1 terabyte of storage with OneDrive via Office 365 Personal, so that's good. You know, you've got access to all the storage. The problem is you can't sync that down to this device because it hasn't got that much storage, so you've got to be careful what you sync. With OneDrive you can specify which folders replicate, and you can access it through the browser as well, so you're not completely stuck, but you know, that is a very limited amount, and if you're going to get new versions of Windows on here, you need about that much space, so it is quite close to the limit on that. I mean, what Office 365 Personal, I think it's 40 quid, something like that, so that in itself is good. I mean, you get, which means you can install Outlook, Excel, Word on here, and access your cloud storage device, you know, your cloud store, your OneDrive store on there. So it would be good for someone wanting to do basic tasks with a bit of maybe a couple of Office documents and browsing and Facebook kind of thing, and that's it really. That's what the job of this device is. 200 quid. It's got the basics. Oh, what I didn't mention, I should mention as well, is it has got excellent battery life. See, this is saying 8 hours 15 minutes, so that's even with that CPU running high. So the benefits of having the low spec CPU means this has got a long battery life, so you're going to get a lot of battery life out of here. 8 hours, sometimes I think you can get up to 10 hours depending on what you're doing. So it would be a good device for someone who wants to browse the web, bit of Facebook, email, maybe look at a couple of documents in Word or Excel, and still have access to the Windows Store, still have access to put on Chrome or Firefox or whatever you want, and get a good battery life. But it's certainly not a power machine, but 170 quid, I think it's a nice price. So I'll include a link to the more details on thedigital lifestyle.com. So thanks for watching this video.